Hi folks, I'm Divok, and welcome to the hero preview for Rix. If you're the type of person to never give up on a fight, who relentlessly pushes back against all odds, then you need to prepare to use Rix when Artifact releases. Rix is a Vul. In fact, he's the leader of the Vul Rebellion. At the time of Artifact, the Vul city seems to be occupied by Legion Commander and her Bronze Legion. And at the same time, it also seems to be besieged by Saula Khan and the Red Mist Horde. Now, Rix and Legion Commander, they seem to go back. They used to be good friends. But since something caused him to rise up against her and the Bronze Legion in Rebellion, we're still unsure as to why they rose up, but in a voice line between Dark Willow and Legion Commander in Dota 2, she says that Rix is going to kill Legion Commander, so whatever it was, it must have been pretty severe. Rix is a 3 attack, 0 armor, and 7 health green hero. Now, are these stats good? No. They are the second worst stats in the game. Only Crystal Maiden has less stats, at 2 attacks, 0 armor, and 5 health. With 3 attack, Rix falls into the same issue that many heroes seem to be. He can't kill creeps by himself, at least not in one hit, and unlike other heroes, he doesn't have a mechanic to help him do damage either, unlike Luna's Lucent Beam, or even Crystal Maiden's Refund of Mana. With 0 armor and 7 health, of the 12 heroes that we've got confirmed stats for, 5 of those can kill him from full HP in a 1v1. However, Rix's stats are not his selling point. Rix's ability is Relentless Rebel. Relentless Rebel grants rapid deployment. Now, for those of you that don't know what rapid deployment does, it allows your hero to respawn or redeploy the turn after it dies, unlike other heroes that have to wait 1 turn in the fountain before being redeployed. Rapid deployment ensures that Rix is on the field at the start of every single turn. Now, there is a quintessential good use to this, and a horrifically bad use of this. The good way to utilise this is to take Rix on as a constant threat, with your front foot forward, and even utilising him to cast green spells as a solo green hero in a 3 or even 4 colour deck. However, the bad way of using Rix is to use him to just face tank damage because you know he's coming back. This will feed gold to your opponent, who will then be able to get even stronger than you with great items, and it'll be a lot harder for you to get back in the game. There's something important to note here. There are fewer bad uses. So long as you're not feeding Rix and getting nothing from it, Rix's Relentless Rebel is a great ability. Rix's premier spell is Truth to Power. Truth to Power, for 5 mana, silences a unit for that round. Currently, this is the only silence we know of in the game so far. Now, we have no confirmation as to exactly what silence does, but it is widely used in other card games, and silence is also a status effect in Dota. So pulling all of the information together, doing a lot of research, and talking to a lot of influential people a lot more in the know than I am, it seems like when you silence a hero, it'll stop you from casting spells with that hero for that round. Just like Dota, when you silence an enemy hero, they can't cast any spells. Now what this means is, say the enemy has 1 blue hero in the lane opposite you. If you silence that hero, they won't be able to cast any blue spells in that lane. If they have 2 blue heroes however, they will be able to use the other hero to cast their blue spells. Now again, this isn't confirmed. It could also be that silence mutes the target's ability. For example, it would mute Relentless Rebel if you used it on an enemy Rix. But we're pretty confident that it will mute spells. Now with Rix's abilities and spells out of the way, we're going to go through the items, spells and playstyles you should be using alongside Rix at different parts of the game. In the early game, while the board is a lot clearer, you want to set Rix up to be a threat. Don't be afraid to take some tower hits and take hits on other heroes. You want to put a lot of your resources early into Rix to make sure that he actually becomes a threat. Items to help you get here include Short Sword and Blade of Vigil. These are very cheap items that grant +2 attack. This pushes him over the limit for killing creeps, which is fantastic, and also starts to make him a threat to heroes. For example, he can then start to one-shot Crystal Maiden. The big no-no in terms of items early game is do not buy leather armor for Rix. I know leather armor seems like a fantastic item, cheap source of armor, brilliant. But Rix doesn't have that much health anyway. That armor is not protecting much. And on top of that, when Rix dies, he comes back immediately. That is something none of the other heroes we know of so far can do. So instead of buffing up his defense, trying to help him survive, turn him into a threat to kill. Make it so that if the enemy target Rix, they're going to have to lose a hero of their own. And that hero is going to have to spend extra time in the fountain. There's also one particular spell that you can use to continue buffing Rix up. Unfortunately, it's combat training, a red spell that for 3 mana will give your hero +2 attack. Now, you might consider that red-green isn't that great of a combination, but don't forget that you can use Rix as a solo green hero, or you might just be able to make a red-green deck work. Moving into the mid-game, you want to use Rix more aggressively. Use his deaths to reposition. Don't forget that when a hero dies, you get to choose where to deploy them when they come back, and Rix comes back every turn. spend more resources in making him even more deadly, and it's at this stage that his silence comes into play too. In terms of items in the mid game, you want to get a more effective weapon for Rix. Now we don't have any confirmed examples of the specific weapons yet, but we have seen plenty of screenshots, like this one of Axe and this one of Crystal Maiden, where their stats have been buffed a bit beyond the +2 from Short Sword. So see if you can get some of these items and see if you can get Rix to that stage where he can one-shot some of the bigger health targets. A rough ballpark, you want to aim for at least 8 damage. In terms of spells, if you're already running red, New Orders is fantastic. A 1 mana red card that lets you choose a target for Rix. Don't forget, by now he should have pretty high DPS, and he comes back. So you use this, target an enemy hero, take them out of the game for 2 turns, Rix is straight back in there. Finally, you want to use your new Rix's ability to clear enemy heroes out of the way, so you can get some damage on the tower. Now, if you don't want to commit too many other heroes to this, you can use the old blue and green combination. Dimensional Portal plus Act of Defiance gives you an army of 4 attack creeps. Use Rix to clear the blocking hero, and you've got a lot of damage on that tower. Moving into the late game, there is so much damage flying around, but Rix is going to be up every single turn without fail. That's a huge advantage, as everything across the board is going to be capable of one-shotting most things, so use that advantage. Also, Rix has that free mobility from death. Every time he dies, he redeploys exactly where you need him. In terms of items you want to look out for, Apotheosis Blade and other high damage items need to be your priority. One particular item to look out for in terms of enemies is Vesture of the Tyrant, because this grants the enemy rapid deployment. Now, Rix and your enemy will be on a level playing field, but Apotheosis Blade condemns items, so make sure you're trying to target that Vesture of the Tyrant so you're the one with the Relentless advantage. For your health items and armor items, you want to prioritize utility over raw stats. You almost want Rix to die so that he can lane swap more often. So look at things like Phase Boots, which allow you to swap lanes even further, or Horn of the Alpha, which spawns a 14-0-14 huge creep. In terms of spells, the 6 mana blue spell, Annihilation, is perfect for Rix. You kill off his enemies, as well as his allies and himself, but Rix is the one that comes back next turn, and he's got a clear path ahead of him. But no hero, no matter how relentless, is alone. Rix needs friends just as much as the other heroes. Now Lycan, another green hero, is perfect to get him through that early game, granting him +2 attack if they're adjacent to one another. Bristleback can also help him get through this earlier stage, but coming from the other angle. His spell, Viscous Nasal Goo, reduces the armor of enemies, which, if they have none, creates negative armor, which means Rix does +2 damage. Now Pugna is his final potential friend, and this is a bit of a weird one, because you're utilising Pugna here for its improvement killing. There's an improvement that we know of in the game, we don't know its name, but we know the effect, that grants the enemy heroes a 50-50 chance to come back with 1 health instead of dying. Now this counters this whole strategy with Rix of being able to beat down enemy heroes and come back to the field faster than them. So get Pugna on your side and get killing that improvement so Rix is the only relentless hero out there. In terms of enemies, well, an enemy Rix is a pretty good counter, because you kill him, well, he's just going to come back soon anyway. Also the silence, Truth to Power. If you're using your Rix as a solo green hero, that means you can't cast any green spells for the remainder of that turn, even if you move lanes. The final enemy of Rix isn't necessarily a hero, but it's more of an attribute, cleave damage. If you're face tanking big heroes with Rix, and they're cleaving, then there's absolutely no point for you to have a face tank in the first place, because they're going to be hitting most of your units anyway. Heroes that we know of that can do this already are Sven and Zeus with his ability. So, Rix might appear weak at first, but giving him the means to be a monster, and his relentless pursuit for freedom will show. Rix will tear through your opponents without any concern for himself, and while your enemies sleep off the damage, Rix will be sealing your victory. Thank you for watching the hero preview for Rix. And also thank you for helping us reach 1,000 subscribers. As a result of this, we'll be adding our first set of Discord emotes into the official Artificers Guild Discord. We'll also keep updating these for every milestone we hit, so keep subscribing. Also, we will be releasing the second instalment of our How to Play series, as a show of appreciation for all of your incredible support, so thank you. As always, if you'd like to support us further, please like and subscribe, if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever a new video goes out. If you've enjoyed this video, then here's our most recent video, and here's a related video we think you might like, so take a look. I have been Divok of the Artificers Guild, and I will see you next time.